Think about the chair you're sitting on, or maybe the table where you're listening right now.
Hmm.
For centuries, these have been pretty straightforward objects, right? A place to sit, a surface, functional, maybe looks nice.
Sure. Function and aesthetics.
But what if they could actually, sense and respond to you?
Respond. How so?
Imagine a chair that subtly adjusts itself to improve your posture. Or a table that displays info you need right there on its surface.
Okay, that's definitely a shift.
Yeah. So let's really dig into this because this deep dive is all about that fascinating intersection where furniture design meets interaction design.
Right. How tech is basically transforming these familiar things into, well, smart or interactive furniture.
Exactly. And for you, the learner who's keen to get up to speed on new fields, spot those aha moments.
We've really looked into the core ideas here, interaction design principles, how they're being applied to furniture now.
Our goal is to give you a clear picture, right? The forces shaping the furniture of tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll cover the design thinking behind it, stuff like ubiquitous computing, ambient intelligence,
How the physical and digital are merging in these objects.
and some really key considerations, ethical ones too, as this field grows, but, without getting too bogged down in jargon.
Right, we're focusing on the concepts, the theory behind this change.
Yeah,
So maybe let's start with the
that
basics.
makes sense.
Traditionally, furniture design was, well, it was about materials, build quality, looks.
Mm-hmm. The physical object itself.
But now technology's in the mix. We need a whole new lens.
Mm,
And that's interaction design or IXD.
precisely. So instead of just making a chair look good.
It's about making it work well with us.
Exactly. IXD is fundamentally about creating meaningful, usable, and ideally engaging ways for people to interact with tech.
Okay.
It's not just, does it work, but is it satisfying, efficient,
Yeah.
maybe even, a bit delightful?
Delightful furniture. I like the sound of that.
And there are some core IXD concepts that are super relevant here.
Such as, give us some specifics.
Well, usability is huge. Can you actually achieve what you want easily and effectively?
Like that smart desk example, adjusting the height shouldn't be a puzzle.
Exactly. Then there's accessibility. Can lots of different people use it, regardless of ability?
Like voice control for someone with mobility issues. That's important.
Very. And user experience, UX, that's the big picture. It's everything about your interaction. Feeling comfortable, feeling in control.
It's all about the human experience with these things, not just the tech specs.
Yeah, right. And user-centered design is the process to get there, always keeping the user's needs and behaviors front and center.
And what struck me is that this isn't entirely new in principle. You mentioned a link to like early human-oriented tools.
Yeah, it's interesting. Think about it. A well-made ancient tool or chair was designed for a specific human need, solving a problem for the user.
So that user focus has always been there in good design, physical or digital.
It really has.
Yeah.
And there's a structured way designers approach this design thinking.
Right, that process. Empathy first, really understand the user.
Then define the problem clearly.
Ideate brainstorm solutions.
Prototype, build rough versions,
Test them with real users. Get that feedback.
and then implement. It's iterative, always looping back to the user. Crucial for stuff we interact with so closely.
Definitely. And what about ergonomics? That's always been part of furniture design.
Absolutely. Comfort, efficiency, adjustable height, lumbar support, all that.
So how does IXD connect with that?
Well, now it's about dynamic comfort. Interactive adjustments, maybe even feedback from the furniture.
So not just having lumbar support, but the chair might, subtly adjust it as you shift.
Exactly. Based on sensors reading your posture, that's a big step up.
Wow. Okay. And then there are these terms, affordances and mental models. Sound a bit academic, but you said they're key.
They really are fundamental to how we interact with anything. Affordances are just the possibilities for action an object suggests.
Like a flat chair surface affords sitting. A handle affords pulling. Simple.
Right. And when you add digital elements, clear affordances are vital. You need to intuitively see how to interact. A touch-sensitive spot needs to look like one.
Yeah, you don't want to guess how to turn on the lamp built into your nightstand.
Exactly. If a button looks like decoration, the affordance is poor.
That makes sense. And mental models.
That's your internal understanding of how things should work, based on everything you've used before.
Like you pull a drawer handle, the drawer opens.
Precisely. Smart furniture needs to align with those expectations. If tapping the wood on a table suddenly controls volume because your phone works that way, but here it changes the lights.
That's confusing. It breaks your mental model.
Right. Behavior should be predictable, consistent with what people already know. Avoid that friction.
Okay, so that lays the foundation from the design side. Now let's talk about the technology enabling all this.
Yeah, concepts like ubiquitous computing, ubicomp, and ambient intelligence AI.
Sounds futuristic, but you're saying it's happening now.
Increasingly, yes.
Hmm.
Ubicomp is this vision of tech embedded everywhere, often invisibly.
Everywhere but unobtrusive.
That's the goal. Tiny processors in everyday objects, communicating, acting intelligently, often without you needing to do anything explicitly, blending into the background.
And furniture seems like a prime candidate for this, being so, well, present in our lives.
Absolutely. It's already there. Embed sensors, processors, connectivity, and a simple table becomes an active part of the environment, context aware.
So smart furniture sofas with chargers, beds tracking sleep, those are early examples of Ubicomp in action.
Exactly. Network furniture, systems anticipating needs.
Okay, so Ubicomp is the embedding. How does ambient intelligence, AMI, fit in?
AMI takes it a step further. It adds the intelligence layer, environments that aren't just connected, but are sensitive and responsive to people.
Responsive how?
Using AI to offer support that's intuitive, unobtrusive, understanding preferences, acting proactively, like the environment itself is smart.
So Ubicomp puts the tech in the chair, AMI makes the chair understand and react to you sitting in it.
That's a good way to put it. AMI builds on Ubicomp, emphasizing the intelligent response.
So not just tracking sleep, but the AMI bed might adjust its firmness based on your patterns without you asking.
Precisely. Furniture becomes a key interface. Sensors gather data, actuators respond, changing shape, lighting, sound.
So we're talking coffee tables recognizing objects, sofas detecting posture for gesture control.
That's the direction. It's a whole new way of interacting.
Which leads nicely into this idea of phygital convergence, the blending of physical and digital.
Yeah, furniture is right at that crossroads. It's a crucial touch point. Think smart mirrors overlaying info or tables with built-in touchscreens controlling your home.
The tangible meeting the virtual, mediated by our furniture.
Exactly. And there are different ways designers think about managing these transitions.
Right, you mentioned some aim for seamlessness, others for more user awareness.
That's a key design choice. Seamless transitions try to make the digital part almost invisible.
Like that wireless charging table example. Put the phone down, it just works. Tech disappears.
Right. Or augmented reality, using your phone to see virtual furniture in your room, blurs the lines.
It's about simplifying, right? Augmenting familiar physical things without adding complexity.
Ideally, yes. Resimplifying, honoring the physical object.
But then why would you sometimes want the user to be aware of the digital stuff happening?
Well, sometimes awareness is crucial. For safety, for important info, or just for maintaining explicit control.
Ah, okay. Like your hot mug example, the table projecting a light warning, you need to see that.
Exactly. Or tangible user interfaces using physical objects like tokens on a table to control digital content. The link between physical action and digital result is very clear, very deliberate.
So the choice, seamless versus aware, it really depends on the situation, what you're trying to achieve.
Absolutely. Context, user needs, the goal of the interaction, they all dictate the best approach.
Now, putting all this tech into our homes, into our furniture, it definitely brings up some big questions, ethical ones.
Huge ones. Privacy is a major concern. These things have sensors. They're in our private spaces collecting data.
Data about our presence, habits, maybe even biometrics.
Potentially, yes. So data ownership, clear consent, transparency about what's collected and why these are vital. Encryption, anonymization become really important.
Insecurity. If my sofa is connected to the internet.
It's a potential vulnerability like any connected device. Needs secure design, regular updates, strong authentication. We need to prevent hacking, unauthorized control.
That makes sense. And what about access? This smart stuff can be expensive, requires internet.
That's the digital divide issue. It could create inequalities if only certain people can afford or use this tech. Promoting inclusion and equitable access is key.
We need to think about that. And the environmental side too, materials, energy use, e-waste.
Definitely. Sustainable design is crucial. Using renewable materials, designing for energy efficiency, durability, repairability, and eventually responsible recycling.
It's a whole web of ethical considerations designers need to navigate carefully.
It really is.
Okay, so shifting back to the user experience, assuming we navigate the ethics, how does this smart furniture actually make our lives better? Comfort, control.
Enhancing the user experience is the ultimate goal, right? Comfort is a big one. Adaptive features.
Like the height adjusting desks, posture tracking chairs.
Exactly. Or beds adjusting firmness, maybe even furniture, helping control room temperature or lighting. Personalized dynamic adjustments, that's a major potential benefit.
That sounds great.
Hmm.
But control is important too. I don't want my chair deciding everything for me.
Absolutely. Users need a strong sense of control. That means intuitive interfaces, clear feedback, knowing what the furniture is doing and why.
And options, right. Voice control, presets, but also maybe a simple manual override.
Yes, flexibility and agency are key. The tech should support you, not take over.
And there's a risk, I guess, that bad design could actually make things more complicated, increase mental effort.
That's a real danger, what we call cognitive load. Clunky menus, non-intuitive controls, too many features. It can be overwhelming.
So this is where those IXD principles, simplicity, clarity, intuitive feedback, become really critical again.
Absolutely. Minimizing that mental strain. Using strategies like chunking information, clear visual hierarchy, progressive disclosure. Basically, making it easy to learn and use without thinking too hard.
So looking ahead then, where is this all going? What are the future pathways?
Well, we're really seeing, I think, a fundamental rethink of furniture's role. It's not just static anymore.
Right.
Future work will focus on these holistic models, integrating the physical form, the digital function, and the user experience seamlessly.
Which sounds like it needs a lot of different experts working together.
Definitely. Furniture designers, IXD specialists, computer scientists, ethicists, material scientists. It's truly interdisciplinary.
And we need to understand how people actually live with this stuff long term.
For sure. Long-term user studies are crucial. How do people adopt it? Do they trust it? How does it impact well-being?
And maybe developing clear ethical guidelines specifically for smart furniture.
That would be very helpful. Plus, more exploration into AI-driven adaptation, making furniture even more responsive.
But always coming back to the user.
Always. User-centered design, iterative testing that have to remain the core focus, making sure the technology actually serves the human experience.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. To recap our deep dive today, furniture is clearly changing. It's not just static stuff anymore.
Right. Interaction design principles are absolutely essential to make this smart, interactive furniture useful, usable, and ethical.
We've looked at the ISD foundations, the tech like Ubicomp and MI driving it,
How physical and digital are merging, those crucial ethical speed bumps.
and keeping the focus squarely on your experience, your comfort, control, and not overloading you.
Exactly. Which leads to maybe a final thought for you, the learner.
Go on.
Think about how your relationship with the everyday objects around you might fundamentally change as they get smarter, more responsive. What new possibilities open up? What maybe unforeseen challenges arise in a truly, ambiently intelligent home?
It feels like we're just at the beginning of figuring this out.
We really are. And your experiences, your expectations are going to play a huge part in shaping where this all goes next.